Buddham 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 Vande Dhammam 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 Vande Sangham 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 Vande Buddham Dhammam Sangham Vande Samanta Cakkavalesu Atra Gaccantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajassa Sunanto Sagga Mokkadam Dhammasavana Kalo Ayam Badanta Dhammasavana Kalo Ayam Badanta Dhammasavana Kalo Ayam Badanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Sankintena Pancupadanakkandha Dukkha. Homage to the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear friends in Dhamma, here today we are going to discuss very important topic in Buddhism, the 5 aggregates. And in Pali language, Upadanakkandha. Another mean that 5 aggregates. This is our life. This is our life. This reads, this explains what happens to our life. When we are going to start this topic, first of all, I would like to summarize the teachings that we discussed last few weeks. And day by day, as intelligent persons, we should go forward in happiness and liberation. That should be our main goal in our life. If we are successful in this life, day by day, our happiness should increase. But mostly people in the world, in the society, they may think that when they are successful in their education and employment, they may think that they are successful. But that is not the real success. According to Buddhism, our real success depends on how far we have purified our mind. Our happiness depends on how far we have purified our mind. There are some negative thoughts which disturb our peace of mind. We should recognize what kind of emotions that disturb our peace of mind. And also not only recognizing, but we have to overcome these negative thoughts, unwholesome thoughts. Then we can purify our mind and also we can see the beauty of our life. We should protect our mind. We should develop our mind. Especially Buddhism has explained that we have to develop especially mindfulness and wisdom. According to Buddhism, there are 3 major unwholesome emotions that disturb our peace of mind. One of them is lobha or greed, attachment, lustful desire. These are the synonyms. Desire, it is not just desire, it is a lustful desire. Desire, attachment, greed, craving. One of the negative thoughts that disturbs our peace of mind. The second one is moha. Moha means, second one, dosa. Dosa means anger or ill will. This is the second one. Lobha means craving, greed or attachment, and dosa means anger, hatred or ill will. Third one, moha. Moha means ignorance or delusion. As Buddha explained, lobha is, it is difficult to overcome, but results are not danger. Dosa, the results are dangerous, but it is not difficult to overcome. How about moha? Moha is more dangerous, and also it is extremely difficult to overcome. And this is Kippa Viraga. Kippa Viraga Danda, Kippa Viraga Mahasavajya. This one, Alpa Savajya Danda Viraga. The results are not dangerous, but it is difficult to overcome lobha. Dosa means Kippa Viraga Mahasavajya. It is easy to overcome, but results are dangerous. Moha Danda Viraga Mahasavajya. The results are dangerous. It is extremely difficult to overcome. We can overcome lobha in some kind of levels, and also we can overcome dosa in some kind of levels. But it is difficult to overcome moha. Moha is like the main switch. If we can off moha, automatically other both things are overcome. These are like microwave, fridge, oven, like this. This is the main switch. According to Buddhism, moha can be divided into two. One of them is unknowing of karmic law. If we know the karmic law, if we have idea about the karma and its effect, we can overcome some kind of levels of ignorance or delusion. That is the very first level. And second level, we should know the dependent origination, Patisampada, to overcome completely moha or avidya or ignorance or delusion. Both of them are very important. And have you any idea about these things? Have you any question?
Dosa means dvesha, right?
Sorry?
Dosa means dvesha.
Dvesha. Dvesha in Sanskrit, dosa in Buddha's language, in Pali. Pali dosa.
Most of our, that's akusala is under these three.
Some akusal, some unwholesome deeds depend on anger. Some defilements depend on lobha. Some defilements depend on moha. But if we have any kind of mistake or unwholesome deeds, everything has moha. Moha is the primary level foundation. Sometimes we have dosa. Sometimes we have dosa or anger. Sometimes we have we have lobha. Moha is like this. Moha or avidya. This is like that. foundation is moha or ignorance. If we can understand ignorance and if we can overcome ignorance in some kind of levels, especially if we can overcome the ignorance about karmic law, we can overcome some kind of craving and anger. But still we have anger and craving. You know, there were some persons when Buddha was living who had eradicated their lobha and dosa. For how long? For 84 great eons. Mahakalpa 84 great eons. There were some persons when Buddha was living. But they were also not successful because still they have moha, avidya. They had overcome the ignorance in karmic law, but they didn't have the idea about the dependent origination, impermanence. That is why they have to come back here. They couldn't say us bye. They have to come back. And little by little, if we are clever to overcome these three defilements, that is our success. That is our skillfulness. And for that, especially, we should be aware of our mind and body. And Buddha says, the only way that we have to overcome suffering is practicing mindfulness. And as Buddha explained, we should be knowledgeable about the one step is that the heavenly path. Heavenly path. First of all, Buddha pointed out the way how we receive a blissful life. That was the main purpose of Buddhist teachings. Because all of people can't achieve enlightenment immediately, because their mental situation is different. But everybody can receive a blissful life after they die. Next birth. Okay. And Buddha's main purpose was to point out the way to have a blissful life. That is why Buddha explained the three meritorious deeds. Heavenly path. In the heavenly path, we should have a knowledge about the karmic law. It says in Buddhism, the kammasakata jnana, kammasakata sammaditthi, the right understanding of karmic law. As much as we are knowledgeable about the karmic law, we try to overcome evils, sabba papa sakaranam, and also we try to develop good deeds, meritorious deeds. The thing is, we know very well, if our mind is polluted, wicked, impure, we will have the bad results. If a person has this kind of understanding, he never does the bad deeds, because he doesn't like. He doesn't like get suffering. And he always keep his mind pure and calm. He doesn't give any chance to anybody to disturb his peace of mind. And he protects his mind like a small child. And in the heavenly path, Buddha explained the three meritorious deeds with the understanding of the karmic law. We know very well that if our mind is impure, the results are evil. We will have the negative results, unwholesome results, because of polluted mind. On the other side, if we do something within pure mind, we will have the good results, blissful results, because of pure mind. And with this understanding, we always try to do the three meritorious deeds, dana, or sila, and bhavana. And dana, sila, and bhavana means generosity, discipline, or morality, or virtue, and bhavana, meditation. By practicing generosity, we try to overcome greed, attachment. By practicing loving kindness and sila, we try to overcome anger. By practicing concentration and insight meditation, we try to overcome ignorance. These three meritorious lead to overcome three unwholesome deeds, three defilements. Practicing generosity leads to overcome greed or attachment. Practicing sila and loving kindness lead to overcome anger. Practicing mindfulness and wisdom lead to overcome ignorance or delusion. This is the heavenly path. If we can practice these three meritorious deeds, we have a guarantee that we will have a blissful life hereafter. It is very useful. It's the very essential thing that we should do, because Buddha recognized the main challenges that we have in our life. Sometimes we may think that if we have a sick person at home, that is the big problem. Sometimes we may think that if we lost our job, it is a big problem. Sometimes we may think that if we failed our exams, that is a big problem. Actually, those are not the big problems. Buddha has recognized the main challenges in front of us. What they are. What are the main challenges in our life? One of them is old age. Old age. Aging. Decay. And the second one, what is the second challenge in our life? Sickness. Sometimes we may sick, sometimes we are not sick. Sometimes there are some persons who never get sick. Yes, death. And death is also one of the challenges that we have. What is the next one? Third one? Rebirth. Yes, rebirth. And these are the three major challenges that we have. We can overcome these three challenges before death. That is the interesting thing in Buddhism. All other religions explain their liberation, their blissful life, their freedom after death. But the Buddhism says, Buddhism declares the freedom of these three things when we live in this life. Before death. Yes, Jati Jara Marana. We can overcome Jati Jara Marana or rebirth, old age and death before we die. As much as we can practice impermanence, insight meditation, at that moment we have overcome these three challenges. When a person becomes enlightenment, at that moment, immediately that person has overcome these three challenges. According to conventional truth, people may say that this Arantas passes away. He can say. Somebody can say. But Arantas doesn't feel that he died. As soon as he becomes the enlightenment, immediately he overcomes these three challenges. That is the interesting thing. And in this moment, if we can think the impermanence as it is, at that moment, even though we didn't achieve enlightenment, we can overcome these three challenges. When we think impermanence, at that moment we don't feel our sickness. We don't feel our old age. We don't feel our death even though we are subject to die. When we reflect on impermanence, that intention has no space to live in these challenges. That is the interesting thing. Buddha always explains that how we overcome these three challenges as much as we can. However, the main thing that we should do, practicing three meritorious deeds as much as we can. When we practice these merits, it means we have some kind of facilities in this life. Sometimes we may think that we should have merits that we did in our previous lives to succeed this life. Actually, it is true, but it is not completely true. Because, if we do some good deeds in this life, we can see the results in this life. For example, some people may think that this in the Western society, people don't believe karma, and therefore they work hard, they are rich, they have overcome difficulties. But our Asian people, always they think that the karma, previous karma, we have nothing, we are poor because of our past karmas. We should face the fate. But, here people, their karma, they do their karma this life, they can see the result this life itself. For example, in the morning if we work hard, in the evening we can have some money or something. That is also karma. Not only our previous karmas. In this society, people work hard this life. As the result of their action, they will have the reaction, results. That is also karma. But some karmas, some results we can change. For example, as the result of some negative karmas, if we are deaf, we can change it. But if we are not rich, if we have financial problems or some difficulties, if we work hard, we can overcome those difficulties, problems. That is also included in karma. And however, when we practice these merits, actually we can see some results in this life. For example, when we help other children, then your children are successful because of this karma. And when you disturb other children, other students, then your children may have some problems. That is also the karmic results. And however, even though we have all facilities that we want, we can overcome some challenges that I explained. Jati, Jara, Marana. That is why we should find another step that Buddha explained. The second step, the second level, that the deliverance path. Or Mokkhamagga. Deliverance path leads to overcome suffering completely in this life or in a very recent life. For that, we should have not only karmic law, we should have the knowledge of karmic law, but we should have the knowledge of the dependent origination, Paticcasamuppada. In this level, there are a lot of people in the world, because they believe karmic law. Even though they don't believe karmic law, if we help others, if we practice these things, they can succeed this life and they may have a blissful life after death. But for that, the special thing, according to Buddhism, we should know the process of arising and ceasing of suffering. We should have clear understanding the process of suffering. Without that understanding, we can never achieve this second path, deliverance path. Deliverance path means, or liberation path, means moksha marga, or how we overcome the samsaric journey completely. For that, especially we should know the 5 aggregates, Pancupadanakkandha, the topic that we are going to discuss. The 5 things. Always these 5 things arise and cease. You know, in very first sermon that Buddha delivered, in Dhammacakka Sutta, Buddha said, there are some sufferings that we have. Jatipi dukkha, birth is suffering. Jarapi dukkha, decay is suffering. Vyadipi dukkho, sickness is suffering. Maranampi dukkham, death is suffering. These are the primary things in Buddhism. Anybody can understand these are sufferings. But the special thing that Buddha explained, Sankiptena Pancupadanakkandha dukkha, in brief, arising of 5 aggregates with ignorance is suffering. What is the 5 aggregates that arise with ignorance? When we see something, if we think that experience was here before I experienced, when you see this wall, when you see this picture, if you think that this was here before you saw, and also if you think that after experience it remains here, that is the ignorance. And also, if we think that when we look at this picture, the picture is outside, and also the suffering or happiness brings me from outside, if we think, that is also ignorance. Actually, this is only colors for some things, material things. Suffering or happiness arises according to our mental formations. According to our insight, according to our mental formations, suffering or happiness arises. It doesn't mean that there is no something in outside. Buddha doesn't say it. There is something outside. Only 4 elements. Satara Mahabhuta Rupa, Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo. Earth element, fire element, wind element, or water element. These 5 things outside. According to our mental formations, then our mind is filled in outside. Then the suffering or happiness arises inside. Then here it is very important, if we have any experience through our senses, we have 6 senses, like eye, ear, nose, we have 6 senses. Every moment these 6 senses act, but there are only 1 sense at once. When one sense acts the other 5 senses don't act. They are neutral. But because of our senses are very fast, we may think that all of them are together. But at once, one sense acts. Even though one sense acts, there are 5 things arise at the moment immediately. It means the 5 aggregates. Form, feelings. Form means Rupa, Vedana feelings, Sanya, perception, Sankhara, mental formations, Vijnana, consciousness. Last Friday we discussed this one. Actually, these 5 things cannot be divided. Like when you have a tea or coffee, you can divide. Water, coffee, sugar, you can divide. These 5 things are like that. But we should recognize these 5 things. We have to divide them mentally with our wisdom, intelligence. If we know the process, how these 5 things arise, then we can classify, we can recognize as soon as we experience something through our senses at the moment, we can recognize these 5 things have arisen. And also, these 5 things arise because of reasons. There are some reasons of these 5 things. Like for elements, or some attachment, or feelings, consciousness, there are some reasons for these 5 aggregates. We should understand as soon as we experience something through our senses, we should be knowledgeable these 5 things have arisen. Then, when we see something outside, we are clever to see inside. When we go to the mirror, we can see the reflection in the mirror. As soon as we see the reflection in the mirror, we know very well the figure is here, my body is here. We never complain the mirror. If there is some mistake in the picture, in the projection, in the reflection, we never complain outside. We think that, we intelligent that the fault is here. When we look at something, when we experience something, if we suffer, if we have this understanding, we never direct our fingers to outside. We know very well the fault is here, the reason is here. If we get upset when we see something, we know very well the reason is here, inside. If we are knowledgeable about this reason, we always try to correct inside, not outside. Because outside things can bring us happiness or suffering. That is why Buddha said, Nate kama yani chitrani loke. There are no craving or desire or anger outside. Sankapparago purisassa kamo. It arises in our mind, according to our ignorance and mental formations. If we can correct inside, even though we see good or bad, it doesn't matter, we are neutral. Nobody can disturb our peace of mind because we are strong with mindfulness and wisdom. In this certain level, deliverance path, Buddha explained how we overcome ignorance. For that, we should be knowledgeable about the 5 aggregates. These 5 aggregates, every moment these 5 aggregates arise and ceases with the conditions at the moment. For that, for the understanding of the 5 aggregates, Buddha has pointed out the path that practice in mindfulness. mindfulness can be divided into four. The contemplating on body, the contemplating on feelings, the contemplating on mental formations, and the contemplating on consciousness. There are four steps in mindfulness. In short, awareness of mind and body. And as much as we are able to practice mindfulness, then we try to keep our mind in the present moment. We usually live in the past. When you think your home, when you think your dad, where is your mind? Your mind is in the past experience. How your father helped you, how your father got sick, you think in the past experience. Actually, you don't think the present experience. You think the past experience. Not only thinking the past experience, but our mind is fixed in the past experience. That is the fault. Buddhism never says that you have to forget your past or future. But in the current society, there are some educated who recommend to practice mindfulness. They explain that forget your past, forget your future, keep your mind in the present moment. Actually, that is not Buddhism. Buddhism never says that you have to forget your past or future. Memory is not the fault. What is the fault? Fault is the memory. Fault is the ignorance. When we think something, if we are knowledgeable, if we are mindful that now I read my mind, I can remember anything. Your home, your dogs, your parents, your relatives, your school, you can remember anything. But you should be aware of that now I read my mind, not the present thing. Then we can remember anything without attachment or anger. For example, when somebody has blamed you, as soon as you remember that person, what happens to you? Yes, you may get angry. As soon as somebody that you remember who has given you address or something, who is a very beautiful person, when we meet some persons, we usually ask them telephone numbers, email numbers. As soon as we contact them, we think that that person is like the time that I saw him with a beautiful cloth, laughing. That person is like that. But now that person may get angry with somebody. We may think that past experience. We think the past experience. When we contact that person, our memory goes to past. Sometimes at that moment, that person was laughing with you. That person was happy with you. Now, that person is angry. Then when we call that person, that sound is not like the past sound. That is why we get upset. We are not ready to face the reality. If we can see the reality, we can remember anything or any incident, anybody. But if we have mindfulness, our mind doesn't go to past. Our mind, we keep our mind in the present moment. Keeping our mind in the present moment, we can remember anything in past or future. It doesn't matter. The thing is, we should have mindfulness. And if we have mindfulness, we can remember anything without attachment and anger. If we have no mindfulness, it means we are away from happiness. Buddha said, whenever you are from mindfulness, then you are in the field of Mara. Mara's field is here. This is Buddha's field. This is the field of Mara. Mara Vishaya. This is the field of Buddha. And whenever we are away from mindfulness, we are here. Then, although we are laughing, we are suffering. Here, even though we are silent because of mindfulness, we are away from suffering. You know, Arhantas, they laugh with eyes, not with mouth. We laugh with our lips and mouth, but Arhantas laugh with their eyes. And here, the important thing is the very first thing that we should practice according to Buddhism, mindfulness. Even though there are a lot of techniques, teachings in Buddhism to overcome suffering, finally Buddha said, we have to practice only two. Mindfulness and wisdom. On the other side, concentration and wisdom. We should keep our attention in the present moment for a long time with a wholesome object, such as breathing meditation, loving kindness meditation. We should train our mind again and again. We should develop the duration that we focus our mind in the present moment with mindfulness. Our success depends on how far we are clever to keep our mind in the present moment with a pleasant object, wholesome object. And please try to develop your duration that you practice loving kindness. 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, day by day increase your time of duration of your meditation. Not only sit in meditation, but whatever you do at home, try to do it with mindfulness, keeping your attention here. Then you are in meditation. And not only practice in mindfulness, while we are practicing mindfulness, Buddha said, Samudaya Dhammanupassye viharati, Vaya Dhammanupassye viharati. Contemplate on impermanence, arising and ceasing. You know, there are some people in the world, they try to keep their mind in a pleasant object for a long time, but they have no idea how to practice impermanence. Buddhist purpose of meditation is to focus on inside meditation. We try to keep our mind in a present moment as an ability to focus our mind to impermanence. And in this situation, it is very essential to practice mindfulness and wisdom again and again. Then when we concentrate our mind in the present moment, then our happiness gradually increases. Then we have a courage to go forward. You know, when we pass some kind of levels in meditation, then it is some kind of interesting in our life. Because we see the results. When we see the results, we are interested in practicing meditation. Now we practice meditation hardly. But little by little, when we go forward by practicing meditation, then it is one of our hobbies, interest. And then, you know, we always try to create our happiness inside. Now we are waiting happiness for outside. Until people talk with us, until people laugh with us, until somebody gives something to us, we are waiting for them. We are like beggars. Please give me help. Please give me happiness. We are begging happiness from outside. But real happiness is inside. If we are clever to generate our inner peace, then we don't beg happiness from outside. It doesn't mean that we don't do our duties. Actually, we fulfill our duties than we did before, after this experience. Now we help people with some material things. After this experience, we help others not only with materials but with spiritual advice. That is the highest gift that we can do. Sabbadanan Dhammadanan jinati. The gift of Dhamma excels all other gifts. If we can give a chance to somebody to keep his mind with happiness, actually that is the great generosity that we can practice. And here Buddha said, we have to reflect on these 5 aggregates again and again. Buddha said, in every steps in spiritual level, Buddha has recommended to practice only this advice. Buddha said, I explain to practice these 5 aggregates to people who are ordinary people, pruthajjana, pudgala. And also, I advise to practice this advice, the 5 aggregates, to people who are trained, seka pudgalayo, who are in some kind of spiritual levels, from Sotapatti to Anagami. Again, Buddha said, I recommend this path to practice to persons who are enlightened until they pass away peacefully. In this situation, Buddha said, I explain this path, the 5 aggregates, to practice to everybody in any spiritual levels. Buddha explained that we have to practice these 5 aggregates in 5 ways. Samudaya, Attangama, Aswada, Adinava, Nissarana. Samudaya means we should be knowledgeable how these 5 aggregates arise in Samudaya, and ceasing how they ceased. And Aswada, enjoyment. When we see something, we should be knowledgeable how enjoyment arises. We have some kind of enjoyment. We can enjoy when we experience something through our senses. Buddhism doesn't reject it. Buddhism believes there are some enjoyments when we experience something through our senses. But the thing is, alpa aswada bahuvadina. Enjoyment is few, danger is a lot. When we see something, we can enjoy, but the disadvantages are a lot. That is why Buddha has explained the liberation. Adinava Nissarana. If we can control our mind when we experience something, we don't run to outside. Sitting here, we can see anything. We can experience anything. But when we experience something, we know very well the thing happens inside. Like, mirage. When deer see the mirage, they run, following mirage, finding water. We also see the same thing. The scene is same for both of us. But because of ignorance, innocent deers run following mirage. But we, intelligent people, we don't run. We know very well that it is not the real thing. When we see something, that is also like that. When we are going here to find these things, we can catch a monk or deer. We meet only wolves. When I am going to meet Shan, Mr. Shan, I meet 4 animals. Not a Shan. Like that. Shan arises in my mind. Shan is not outside. These pictures also like that. When we go to find a flower, we don't meet a flower. We meet 4 elements.
So that's a mirage.
That is the mirage. It doesn't mean that there is no something outside. There is something outside. Because of its help, we have some experience. But that experience, when we see flower, it is experience only my eyes. When we go to catch it, I meet 4 elements. But because of ignorance, when we see something, when we hear something, we combine it with all other things. For example, when there is a water basin, when we close to that water basin, we can see our picture in the water. We can see the picture. We can see our face in the water. But you mean that you think that can you catch that picture? You can smell that picture? No. Can you eat that picture? No. It is experienced to only my eyes. This picture also like that. When we smell something, good smell, like rose flower smell, we suddenly bind it to a flower. Then we are going to find in a flower. We always try to combine all things in a particular object, but every experience is different. One experience that we receive only through one sense. The other things we combine with our mind. Throughout practicing Dhamma, we try to divide this experience one by one. By practicing Dhamma, as soon as we see something, we are clever to divide those feelings. When we are going to the deeper level in practicing Dhamma, we develop our skills about the objects that we experience outside. And however, when we experience something in outside, we don't fix our mind in outside. There is something outside, but the feelings arise inside. According to our mental formations, according to our ignorance, according to our craving, according to our past experience, past evolutions, atita chetana. Because of these reasons, we can experience something about something which is outside. But the feelings arises according to our conditions. If you have this experience, we always try to understand this reality, then we don't complain outside. We always try to correct our mind. In this situation, Buddha explained the path as Eightfold Path. Eightfold Path is the main advice in Buddhism. Eightfold Path again can be included into 3 as Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Sila means virtue and Samadhi means concentration or tranquility, and Panya, wisdom. This is the path in short that Buddha explained to overcome ignorance to achieve real happiness. Virtue or morality means the discipline in our speech and behavior. If we have this understanding, we try to start our journey. The journey starts with the discipline in our speech and behavior. Buddha said, when you say something, when you behave something, think it, reflect on it again and again, whether it is correct. That is said as in present society as EIQ. You know EIQ? Emotional Intelligence Quotient. First, a lot of educated have had to explain IQ. Only IQ. Intelligence Quotient. Now they have developed this concept according to EIQ. E means emotional. Now they say that not only intelligence that we should have some time to get a decision. Before we do something, we should think it again and again, whether it is correct. That is why in our tradition, in Sri Lankan tradition, our elders say that when you are angry, please count from 1 to 9. When you are angry, before you get a decision, please count from 1 to 9, 1 to 10. Then our anger goes away. And that is said in EIQ too. Emotional Intelligence Quotient. That is also very important. However, we are talking about the 5 aggregates. That is our life. And now, according to our present situation, when we experience something, we may think that before we experience something, it was here. After experience, it remains here. That is the ignorance. How we overcome ignorance? We should be knowledgeable. This experience arises this moment. When we do this sound was not here before I did it. After I did this sound, the sound doesn't remain here. It doesn't mean that there is no sound. There is a sound. We can show it. We can show the sound. But it doesn't mean that sound is certain or sound is here. Sound arises when conditions are together. And Buddha said, when you see the arising of 5 aggregates, you don't go to the extreme of nihilism, nastikavada. If you see the arising of 5 aggregates, you never say that there are nothing outside. It is an extreme. When you see the separation or ceasing, you never say that there is something. These both extremes should be reduced in one vision. That is Buddhism. That is Patisamuppada. In one vision, these both extremes should be reduced. What are the extremes? If you say there is something, it is an extreme. If you say there is nothing outside, that is also an extreme. Not going this extreme, Buddha explained the world reality in his special doctrine that in dependent origination, asmin sati idam hoti. When these conditions are here, we can experience something. Asmin asati idam nohoti. When conditions separate, the experience ceases. Like this sound. This sound arises and ceases with the conditions. Our both extremes, nihilism and analytism. ඇත සහ නැත කියන අන්ත. උච්ඡේද සාස්ත්‍ර දෘෂ්ටි. Both of them are extremes. Buddha said, not going these extremes, Buddha explained his Dhamma according to the dependent origination. That is the middle path. Sometimes some people think that I am in the middle path because I eat a little. I talk a little. Therefore, I am in the middle path. That is not the middle path. Some people say that I drink a little, therefore I am in the middle path. That is not the middle path. Middle path means that the path without these extremes. Atha saha natha. There is and there isn't. Both of them are extremes. Without going these extremes, Buddhism explains the path, the deliverance path, according to the dependent origination. Buddha said, when conditions arise, we experience something. When conditions separate, the experience immediately ceases without remaining anything. If we are clever to our attention, awareness, in this reality, be sure at that moment we have overcome sickness, aging, death, and even rebirth. Day by day, try to develop the duration that you practice impermanence. That is the real property, wealth, gem that we earn in our life for the real happiness. This is a very great opportunity to do this practice because we have all facilities. We have strength, health. We have all facilities in this moment. If we lose this very rare opportunity, we have no any guarantee whenever we can meet it again. That is why Buddha said, even you are at the age of 120, and don't miss this chance. If you miss this chance, it means it has no guarantee whether or whenever we can meet it again. While you are doing all other things, we should do these things. If we like us, if we like our happiness, if we like our mind, if we love our mind, please take care of our mind. And also we have to develop our mind day by day. Especially, we should try to overcome ignorance. Ignorance is the main reason that we suffer. If we can reduce ignorance, it is like put off the main switch. And day by day, we should develop our mind. We should develop our spirituality with this understanding. For that, Buddha explained, we have to do 4 things again and again. Associating good friends, listening to Dhamma, what Buddha taught, wise reflection, and practice. These 4 things are recommended to everybody in any spiritual level. Good association, listening Dhamma, wise reflection, practice. Practice means samatha vidarsana. Concentration and wisdom. Day by day, increase your duration that you practice mindfulness.
Is it meditation?
Not only just sit in meditation. While we are doing sit in meditation, we develop concentration. It is good. It is the better way. But, when we drive, when we work, when we walk, any time we can develop mindfulness. Mindfulness means awareness, whatever we do in the present moment. Keep our mind in the present moment with what we are doing. Even though we are practicing sit-in meditation, if our mind goes to past or future, we are not meditating. But even though you are washing your dishes, if you do it with mindfulness, you are in meditation. At that moment, you are reflecting on impermanence. You are aware of your mind and body. This experience arises and ceases. Not only you are practicing concentration meditation, you are practicing even insight meditation at that moment. Actually, we can get the results if we are intelligent and mindful. In one side, we should be knowledgeable how we practice it. The other thing is, we should have a courage when we practice it. Sometimes we can see some people, they have understanding, but they are lazy. They have no mindfulness. They don't practice it. Both of them are very important. In one side, we should have knowledge. On the other side, practice. Both of them are very important. We can start this journey by practicing loving kindness meditation. May all beings in this house be well and happy. May all beings in this city be well and happy. May all beings in this county be well and happy. May all beings in this state be well and happy. May all beings in this country be well and happy. May all beings in this planet be well and happy. May all beings in this solar system be well and happy. May all beings in this galaxy, Milky Way, be well and happy. May all beings in this universe be well and happy. Please try to develop this meditation again and again. You can see a difference in your mind. You can see the happiness in your mind. You can see the beauty of your life. Not only beauty of life, you can see the beauty of your vehicles. You can see the beauty of your garden, your flowers in the garden that you have planted very hardly, expending money. We have no enough leisure time to see even our house. Okay. Have you any questions?
Yes. So how can we be in the middle class, neutral, if you experience something on the outside that is disturbing? Let's say, for example, you see someone killing someone else or hitting a child. How can you be neutral? How can you handle the situation?
Yes. Always Buddhism is related not only loving kindness but also intelligence. Both of them are important. Always Buddha said, virtue is related to wisdom. And loving kindness also related to wisdom. Intelligence. Intelligence and virtue like our both hands. When we wash something, when we wash our right hand, we should put our left hand. Both of them are together. Loving kindness and wisdom also like that. We have some problems, we have to get some decisions. Suddenly, immediately, intelligently, and kindly, not cruelty. and we have to get some decisions in our life. Sometimes we have go to court. Sometimes we have go to meet some persons, lawyer or somebody. If somebody disturbs us always, we have to get some decisions. But we do it kindly and intelligently. And sometimes we try to control some things by practicing our mind. Even when we are sick, sometimes, even though we get some medicines, we are no enough recovery. When we practice some meditation, we can control something, but not at all. Sometimes we have to get some medicine. Sometimes by controlling our mind, we can overcome some diseases. And also, when we associate some people in the same house or same place, by practicing some meditation techniques, we can control them. Actually, results are visible. We should not go always to find another person or police. We can use some techniques, such as practicing generosity, and with good association, good friendship, we can control some kind of their misbehaviors. But sometimes we can do it. Then we have to get some decisions intelligently and kindly. That is very important. After that decision, we should not regret. If we are unhappy after that decision, that is not good. After that decision, we should have a confidence the decision that I got is correct. For that, we should be knowledgeable about the Dhamma, and also we should be knowledgeable about the karmic law. Understanding karmic law is very important. Then we do everything keeping our mind pure and calm. We are not burned out. That is very important. The main thing is the peace of our mind. We should get any decision keeping our mind peace and calm. Okay, thank you for your participation and good attention. Today we talked about Pancupadanakkandha, 5 aggregates, and the nature of our life is 5 aggregates. Even though we say there are flowers, children, houses, villages, philosophers, religions, finally this is the skeleton. 5 aggregates is the skeleton of our any experience. If you say your mom, your dad, your educational qualifications, your school, your dad, your children, anything that you say, you describe 5 aggregates. At that moment, 5 aggregates is our entire life. Don't misunderstand. I am here, 5 aggregates is here. No. 5 aggregates is our entire life. For example, when you drive your car is like your body. When somebody hit your windscreen, then it is like somebody hit your eyes. When your wheel has a patch, tire has a patch, it is like something put it in your leg. When somebody hit your car, it's like somebody hit your body. Because at that moment when you drive your car is like your part of body. These 5 aggregates also like that. When we see something, this all experience is at that moment. When you think your son, your entire life is son. When you think your mom, at that moment your entire life is only your mom. You have no any other experience at that moment. It is immediate. And also that experience is the 5 aggregates. We have only one experience at once. When you think your son, you have only son. When you think your dad, you have only your dad. Whether he is living or not. And that experience is 5 aggregates.
So pretty much your life is like the thought you have at that moment.
Not only thinking, that material things also related. Not only mind, not only mental conditions. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana, 5 are together. For example, when you think some good smell, just mean smell. What is your mind? Just mean flower. When you think...
So the Rupa will be the flower.
Rupa will be not only flower, but smell also related to matter. Matter is like, not only physical things that we have to, from our eyes seen, that Rupa, Sabda, Gandha, Rasa, all of them are matters. Rupa, there are 28 Rupas in Buddhism. There are 28 forms or matters. Such as like, if you have this ability, this is also one of the Rupas, matters, according to Buddhism. This is flexibility, also one of the Rupas. When we die, we have no this ability. Then it vanishes. Now you can jump up because of your mind. When you lift some 50 kilograms, it is so heavy. Your body also like 50 kilograms. But you can jump suddenly because of your mind. It is not heavy for you. That is one of the ability of our matter, because of mind. Buddhism has explained all of them in the name of matter, Rupa. When we have any experience through our 6 senses, every moment these 5 are there. We can divide them. As I got an example, when we have a tea or coffee, we can divide coffee, sugar, water, we can divide. But when we taste it, we know very well, sugar is a little, coffee is a lot. We can understand because we know the formula, ingredients. Here, studying 5 aggregates, we learn ingredients. Although we can divide those things in the physical world, when we study mentally these things, we are intelligent to understand and divide those things when we experience something. That is the way that we practice. And Suttamaya Jnana, first of all, we learn through our ears, then Chintamaya Panya, then we reflect on it again and again, wise reflection, and Bhavanamaya Panya, by meditation, we are going to familiar with this understanding. There are 3 steps. Learning through ears, reflect on in mind, and practice in mindfulness. These 3 ways that we are going to be familiar with this knowledge. Then finally, the understanding and our life is same. Now, we are here, temple is here. We are in the temple only for a day, for Tuesday. Other days we are at home. We are not in the temple. But gradually, when we are going forward with this Dhamma is like our parts of body. Everywhere we are with Dhamma. And then we are not far away from the Dhamma. Dhamma and our life is in the same situation. Then it means we are away from suffering. If we can keep our intention in impermanence completely, at that moment we have no any suffering. Even though we are sick physically, we don't feel that diseases. It doesn't mean that we don't get medicine. We get medicine to live alone. But mentally we are healthy. Even though physically unhealthy, mentally we are healthy. Even though physically we are old, mentally we are young. We don't feel our age when we are in the understanding of impermanence. That is the way Buddha said that we can overcome suffering before we die. As much as we are knowledgeable in this understanding, at that moment we have overcome suffering. Not only we overcome suffering, but we are generous to show this path to our close relatives too. If you are kind, if they are ready to pay their attention. If they don't pay their attention, we have nothing to do. Buddha said, if you have a beloved person, and also if he is ready to listening to you, then please explain them to this message. If you are really kind. Okay, thank you so much for your good attention. We talked a lot, and today we discussed 5 aggregates and 4 mindfulness and the dependent origination, the karmic law, and 3 disciplines, Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Actually, although we have a lot of discussions, we discuss these things again and again. But be sure, day by day, we go to the deeper level. Practice in meditation, and here also in both ways, we are going to the deeper level.
You understand?
Yes, not only understanding, but when we practice meditation, we gradually go to the deeper level. And if you can more practice at home, then you can see the more results. More practice, more results. Okay? Thank you for your good attention. By the power of all these merits, may our departed relatives also receive these merits, and may they develop their spiritual energy, may they have a better life, and may they also attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's transfer these merits to our departed relatives too. Idam me ñātīnam hotu sukitā hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñātīnam hotu sukitā hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñātīnam hotu sukitā hontu ñātayo. By the power of all these merits, may guardian deities and angels also receive these merits, and may they enhance their spiritual energy, may they keep their eye on you too, may they also attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's transfer these merits to guardian deities and angels too. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devānāgā mahiddhikā puññam taṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu sāsanam. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devānāgā mahiddhikā puññam taṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu desanam. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devānāgā puññam taṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu taṃ sadā. By the power of all these merits, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no problems come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May your all righteous wishes meet with success. May all of us attain final bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkham pantāca niddukkha, bhayam pantāca nidbhaya, sokam pantāca nissokā, hantu sambe pipānino. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May the people name bless you.